Hi, this is Adrienne, and today we're going to talk about options for finding the least common multiple. The least common multiple is also called the LCM, and when we work with fractions, we're going to use this same method to find the least common denominator, or the LCD. So we have various options. The first option is to check to see if one of the numbers is divisible by the other. So in our first example here with 2 and 8, 8 is divisible by 2. So we automatically know that the larger number is our least common multiple. So we automatically know that in this case 8 is the LCM. Okay, so whenever one number is divisible by the other, then we know that the larger number is the LCM. If that doesn't work, we can check to see if both of the numbers are prime. So for example, 3 and 11. Both of those numbers are prime, so our least common multiple is going to be the product of the two. We multiply them together. 3 times 11 is 33. So 33 is the least common multiple for 3 and 11. Another option is to list out multiples. So for example, if we have 6 and 9, we can list out the multiples of 6. So the multiples we find by counting by that number. So we'll count by 6's. 6, 12, 18, 24, and so on. Multiples of 9, we count by 9's. 9, 18, 27, 36, and so on. So then we look for the smallest number that appears in both lists. So in this case, it's 18. We see that 18 is in both lists. So 18 is the least common multiple for 6 and 9. And our very last option is to use prime factorization. So let's use the prime factorization method to find the least common multiple for 6 and 9 as an example. So first we're going to find the prime factorization of 6, and 6 breaks down to 2 times 3, and both 2 and 3 are prime. So 6 equals 2 times 3. And the prime factorization of 9, 9 breaks down to 3 times 3. Those are both prime. So 9 equals 3 times 3, or 3 squared. So our very last step is to build the least common multiple. And we have to include all the different prime factors that we've found. We've found 2's and 3's. So we know our least common multiple has to include 2's and 3's. And then we have to decide how many of each one to include. And we're going to choose the largest amount from any one factorization. So for example, if we look at the 2's, 6 has 1 2 and 9 has none. So the largest amount that any one factorization has is 1 2. So we're going to include 1 2. Then if we look at 3's, 6 has 1 3 and 9 has 2 3's. So the largest amount that any one factorization has is 2 3's. So we're going to include 2 3's. So if we multiply those numbers together, we'll find our LCM. 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 3 is 18. So by this other method, we also find that 18 is the least common multiple for 6 and 9. So the prime factorization method is really helpful. It does sometimes take a little bit more time, but it's a good method to use when the numbers are quite large, or when you have more than 2 numbers, if you're finding the least common multiple for 3 or more numbers, for example. So remember that there are all these different options, and the easiest way to begin is to start with the first one, go to the second one if that doesn't work, and so on. And again, this is something we're going to be using when we work with fractions in order to add and subtract the fractions.